In crisis scenarios such as natural disasters, economic collapses, or pandemics, the dynamics between prepared individuals, preppers, and those who are unprepared can become one of the greatest challenges to survival. While preppers have dedicated time, resources, and energy to preparation, many people around them may not have done the same. This raises important questions. How should one deal with unprepared people during a crisis? Should you help others, even if it means compromising limited resources? And how do you balance compassion with the need to protect yourself and your family? This video explores these issues within the context of survivalism, offering practical strategies to navigate these complex interactions and ensure your decisions are ethical, strategic, and aligned with your survival goals. 1. Understanding the dynamics between preppers and the unprepared. Before addressing how to handle unprepared people, it's important to understand the dynamics that may emerge during a crisis. Dependency. Unprepared individuals may rely on those who have resources like food, water, and shelter. Conflict. Resource scarcity can lead to tensions and disputes, especially if there's a perception of unfairness or selfishness. Solidarity. In some cases, a crisis can bring people together, fostering mutual support networks. Exploitation. Unfortunately, some may try to manipulate or exploit the generosity of preppers. These dynamics vary depending on the severity of the crisis, local culture, and pre-existing relationships between individuals. Therefore, it's crucial to assess each situation on a case-by-case basis. 2. The ethics of helping. Should I help others? Deciding whether or not to assist unprepared people is one of the most complex questions in survivalism. Here are some factors to consider. Personal responsibility. Self-preservation. In a crisis, your primary responsibility is to ensure the survival of yourself and your family. Limits. Helping others should not jeopardize your long-term ability to survive. Compassion and humanity. Empathy. Many people don't prepare due to a lack of resources, knowledge, or time. Helping can be an expression of humanity. Support network. Offering assistance can strengthen community ties and create valuable alliances. Risks and consequences. Resource depletion. Sharing resources may reduce your reserves, putting you at risk later. Expectations. Helping once might create an expectation that you'll continue to do so, even when resources are scarce. 3. Strategies for dealing with unprepared people. Here are some practical strategies to balance helping others with the need to preserve your resources. Assess the situation. Crisis severity. In short-term crises, it may be easier to help without compromising your resources. In prolonged crises, aid should be more selective. Personal relationships. Prioritize helping family, close friends, and community members with whom you have strong bonds. Set clear boundaries. Communication. Be transparent about what you can and cannot offer. This prevents misunderstandings and unrealistic expectations. Aid rules. Establish clear guidelines for resource distribution, such as limited amounts or specific conditions. Promote self-sufficiency. Teach skills. Instead of just providing resources, teach people to fish, grow food, or purify water. This reduces their dependency on you. Encourage preparedness. Use your influence to motivate others to prepare for future crises. Build a support network. Collaboration. Work with other preppers to share the burden of helping the unprepared. Organized community. If possible, organize the community to share resources and responsibilities fairly. Protect your resources. Security. Keep your resources in safe, discreet locations to avoid looting or unwanted pressure. Hidden reserves. Consider maintaining a secret stash of resources for personal emergencies. 4. When to help and when to say no. Deciding when to help and when to refuse is one of the toughest choices in a crisis. Here are some guidelines. Situations where helping may be feasible. Short-term crises. In brief natural disasters, helping can save lives without jeopardizing your long-term resources. Vulnerable people, children, the elderly, and those with special needs may require immediate assistance. Strategic relationships, helping someone who can reciprocate in the future, e.g., with skills or resources, can be advantageous. Situations where saying no may be necessary. Limited resources, if helping threatens your own survival, you may need to decline. Exploitative behavior, if someone is trying to manipulate or exploit your generosity, set firm boundaries. Prolonged crises, in long-term scarcity, self-preservation must take priority. 5. Handling conflicts and pressure. In a crisis, conflicts and pressures are inevitable. Here are some tips for managing these situations. Stay calm. Emotional control, avoid reacting impulsively to pressure or accusations. Stay calm and think strategically. Dialogue, try to resolve conflicts through conversation, explaining their limitations and decisions. Be firm but fair. Assertiveness, be clear about your choices without becoming aggressive or hostile. Empathy, show understanding for others' needs, even if you can't assist them. Protect yourself. Physical safety, in extreme cases, be prepared to defend yourself if someone tries to forcibly take your resources. Contingency plan, have a plan to evacuate or hide if the situation becomes dangerous. 6. The role of community in survival. In many crises, survival depends on community cooperation. Here are some ideas to strengthen your community. Collective organization. Leadership, identify community leaders who can coordinate aid efforts and resource distribution. Shared tasks, divide responsibilities like water collection, food production, and security. Education and preparedness. Workshops, offer training on first aid, food cultivation, and other survival skills. Awareness, promote the importance of preparing for future crises. Solidarity. Mutual support, foster a culture of mutual aid where everyone contributes what they can and receives what they need. Inclusion, ensure everyone in the community has access to basic resources like food and water. 7. Questions for reflection. When facing the decision of whether to help unprepared people, it's important to reflect on your priorities and values. Here are some questions to guide your decision-making. 1. What are my limits? How much can I help without compromising my own survival? 2. Who deserves priority? Should I prioritize my family, friends, or the broader community? 3. How can I teach others to prepare? What skills or knowledge can I share to reduce others' dependency? 4. Am I prepared for conflict? How will I handle pressure or threats from desperate people? 5. What's the long-term impact? How will my decisions today affect my ability to survive in the future? Conclusion. Dealing with unprepared people in a crisis is one of the most complex challenges in survivalism. While compassion and solidarity are important virtues, self-preservation and managing limited resources are equally essential. By balancing these needs, you can make ethical and strategic decisions that protect both yourself and others. The key is to prepare for these situations before they arise. Develop a clear plan for handling requests for help, set firm boundaries, and promote self-sufficiency in your community. Remember, survival isn't just about resources, it's also about relationships, skills, and resilience. Questions for viewers. 1. Have you ever been in a situation where you had to help someone unprepared? How did you handle it? 2. What are your personal limits when it comes to sharing resources in a crisis? 3. How do you think a community can be better organized to collectively face crises? 4. Do you believe it's possible to balance compassion and self-preservation in extreme situations? How? 5. What skills or knowledge do you think would be most useful to teach unprepared people? These questions not only encourage reflection but also help build a dialogue about how we can better prepare, both individually and collectively, for the challenges future crises may bring. And remember, always be prepared.